Texas senator asks FBI to locate Democrats, a political showdown. In a dramatic turn of events, Texas Senator John Cornyn has reached out to the FBI, requesting their assistance in tracking down and apprehending Democratic lawmakers who have left the state. This move comes in response to a strategy proposed by former President Donald Trump aimed at significantly redrawing Texas's congressional districts, a maneuver that could potentially secure a Republican majority in the House following the 2026 midterm elections. Cornyn's appeal marks a notable escalation in the ongoing political standoff, which could lead to a direct clash between Democratic leaders in Texas and the Trump administration. Just earlier this week, Texas Democrats successfully disrupted legislative proceedings for the second consecutive day by dispersing across the nation, with many seeking refuge in Chicago, Illinois, where Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker has pledged to offer them protection. In a letter addressed to FBI Director Kash Patel, Cornyn, a member of the Republican Party, emphasized the necessity of federal resources to locate these out-of-state Texas legislators, who he claims may be violating the law. The FBI has chosen not to comment on Cornyn's request for their involvement. Meanwhile, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, also a Republican, has initiated what experts consider a long-shot legal effort to persuade a court to declare the seats of any lawmakers who do not return to the State House by Friday as vacant. Paxton, a staunch Trump supporter who is currently challenging Cornyn for the Republican Senate nomination, stated, "The people of Texas elected lawmakers, not jet-setting runaways looking for headlines. If you don't show up to work, you get fired." On Tuesday evening, Governor Greg Abbott announced that he had filed an emergency petition with the Texas Supreme Court, seeking to remove State Representative Jean Wu, the chair of the House Democratic Caucus, who has taken refuge in Illinois. Abbott declared, "Texas House Democrats abandoned their duty to Texans, and there must be consequences." In response to Abbott's petition, Wu asserted from Chicago that it was both his moral and constitutional obligation to refuse to participate in Abbott's efforts to comply with Trump's demands for additional congressional seats. He stated, "Denying the governor a quorum was not an abandonment of my office. It was a fulfillment of my oath." Former President Trump, who had remained relatively quiet during this escalating situation, finally weighed in on Tuesday. When asked by a reporter if the FBI should assist in locating the Democratic lawmakers, Trump suggested that they may have to. He emphasized, "The governor of Texas is demanding they come back. You can't just sit it out. You have to go back. You have to fight it out. That's what elections are all about." Earlier that day, Trump argued that Republicans were justified in seeking 5 additional congressional seats if the new map were approved. He stated, "We have an opportunity in Texas to pick up 5 seats. We have a really good governor, and we have good people in Texas. And I won Texas. I got the highest vote in the history of Texas, as you probably know, and we are entitled to 5 more seats." Trump also criticized the situation in Illinois, claiming, "What's happening is terrible. They go to Illinois for safety, but that's all gerrymandered. California is gerrymandered. We should have many more seats in Congress in California. It's all gerrymandered." Both Democrats and Republicans have historically utilized gerrymandering to enhance their political power. But in recent years, Republicans have been notably more aggressive and successful in this tactic. In 2010, California voters established an independent redistricting commission to draw the state's congressional maps. However, Governor Gavin Newsom has vowed to fight fire with fire by proposing that voters override the commission and approve new maps favoring California Democrats if Texas proceeds with its gerrymandering plans. At a press conference, Newsom expressed hope that Texas Republicans would back down, but warned that California would not hesitate to respond in a manner that could have significant national implications for the balance of power in Washington. During a press conference in Illinois, Texas Democrats were joined by Governor Pritzker, who praised them as heroes, and Democratic National Committee Chair Ken Martin, who accused Republicans of attempting to steal their way to victory. Pritzker also indicated that Illinois might redraw its own map in favor of Democrats, stating that everything has to be on the table. Pritzker condemned Trump's plan as a corrupt mid-decade redistricting scheme designed to seize 5 congressional seats, effectively silencing millions of voters, particularly Black and Latino constituents. The Texas House reconvened at 1 p.m. local time on Tuesday, but enough Democrats remained outside the state to once again deny a quorum. Texas House Speaker Dustin Burrows announced, "There being 94 members present, quorum is not present," and noted that state troopers were actively working to compel attendance after he signed civil arrest warrants for the absent lawmakers. Burrows stated that the chamber would reconvene and attempt to achieve quorum again on Friday. Democratic State Representative Gina Hinojosa, who left Texas for Illinois on Sunday, expressed that she and her colleagues intended to remain absent from the state capitol for as long as it takes to thwart the Republicans' redistricting efforts. The current special legislative session, called by the Texas governor, is set to last until August 19th. Hinojosa affirmed, "As long as we need to stay away and deny quorum on this bill to pass the truck maps, I will stay away." Abbott may continue to call additional special sessions, and it remains uncertain how long Democrats can remain outside the state. Each lawmaker who has fled faces a $500 per day fine, and Abbott has instructed the Texas Department of Public Safety to locate, arrest, and return to the House chamber any member who has abandoned their duty to Texans. Hinojosa dismissed the Republicans' threats to remove Democratic members from office, labeling it disrespectful to the Texans who elected them, many of whom, she noted, have expressed nothing but gratitude to the lawmakers standing up to Trump. While she acknowledged the troubling arms race in redistricting that Texas's actions have sparked, with Democratic states pledging to retaliate, Hinojosa emphasized the necessity for her party to confront the real, present-day threats posed by the newly drawn congressional maps. Democrats need to fight to win, she asserted. "We fight to win for the day, and we take tomorrow as it comes." However, breaking quorum is a long-standing tactic employed by minority parties in Texas. During a contentious redistricting battle in 2003, Democrats fled the state to prevent Republicans from passing a new congressional map. Ultimately, enough members returned to Austin, and the map was adopted. Justin Levitt, a constitutional law professor at Loyola Law School in Los Angeles, noted that the current situation reflects a growing sentiment that there are no other options available. He referenced a 2019 Supreme Court decision that ruled federal courts could not hear challenges to partisan gerrymandering. Meanwhile, the Republican-controlled Congress has shown little willingness to oppose Trump, even as some Republican members begin to worry that his strategy in Texas could backfire politically. While partisan redistricting is not illegal under the U.S. Constitution, Levitt pointed out that many voters, particularly in states like California, are outraged by what they perceive as a power grab by Trump and Texas Republicans. Levitt remarked, "In any society, when people see a breakdown in the rule of law and no opportunity for accountability, they tend to turn to self-help. It's not good. But a zone where politics is used not to build, but to punish, is not a positive development for American democracy." Texas Governor Abbott sues Dem leader over redistricting quorum break. 2024 midterms. Imagine the political drama unfolding in Texas as Governor Greg Abbott takes a bold step in the ongoing redistricting battle. In a significant escalation, Abbott filed an emergency petition on August 5th, seeking to remove the Democratic leader of the House from office. This move comes after more than 50 Democratic lawmakers left the state en masse to block efforts to redraw Texas's congressional districts. But here's where it gets controversial. The governor's actions have sparked a heated debate about the limits of political power and the consequences of legislative walkouts. Let's dive into the details. The Democratic lawmakers, who left Texas on August 3rd, aimed to deny Republicans the quorum needed to vote on the redistricting plan. This plan, backed by former President Donald Trump, seeks to redraw the state's 38 congressional districts in a way that could potentially flip 5 U.S. congressional seats currently held by Democrats in the upcoming midterm elections. The Republicans hope that by redrawing these districts, they can gain a significant advantage in future elections. Abbott's lawsuit, filed with the Texas Supreme Court, targets State Representative Jean Wu, alleging that Wu and other House Democrats who fled the state have abandoned their offices. The governor argues that their absence deprives the House of the quorum needed to conduct business on behalf of Texans. Abbott further alleges that the Democrats may have received benefits in exchange for skipping the vote, raising allegations of bribery. The Texas Rangers have been ordered to investigate these claims. In a statement, Abbott emphasized the importance of the lawmakers' duties, saying, "Representative Wu and the other Texas House Democrats have shown a willful refusal to return, and their absence for an indefinite period of time deprives the House of the quorum needed to meet and conduct business on behalf of Texans." Texas House Democrats abandoned their duty to Texans, and there must be consequences. The Texas House Democrats, however, have a different perspective. They responded to the lawsuit by stating that the governor is using the law as a weapon to silence his people. They emphasized their oath to the Constitution, not to any politician's agenda. This clash of views highlights the deep divide in Texas politics and raises questions about the role of lawmakers in a democratic society. But this is the part most people miss. The lawsuit comes after Abbott threatened to arrest the Democratic lawmakers who fled to states like Illinois, New York, or Massachusetts. His order was designed to force the absconding legislators to comply with civil arrest warrants issued by state Republican lawmakers during a state house session in Austin on August 4th. However, the arrest warrants only apply within Texas, and breaking quorum is not a crime that would allow Texas authorities to pursue extradition from other states. Earlier on August 5th, Trump suggested that the FBI may have to help arrest the lawmakers and return them to their home state. He stated, "A lot of people are demanding they come back. You can't just sit it out. You have to go back." This comment adds another layer of complexity to the situation, as it involves federal law enforcement in a state-level political dispute. Abbott's actions are backed by a 2021 non-binding opinion from Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. Paxton's opinion suggests that a district court may determine that a legislator has forfeited their office due to abandonment and can remove the legislator from office, thereby creating a vacancy. Paxton expects the Texas Supreme Court to ultimately weigh in on any abandonment cases, noting that they're obviously a Republican court. The absent Democrats are already facing consequences, including a $500 per day fine for being out of state. This penalty was established after state Democrats fled in 2021 to protest new voting restrictions, halting operations for 38 days. The current situation raises questions about the effectiveness of such penalties and the broader implications for legislative processes. So, what do you think? Is Governor Abbott's move a necessary step to uphold the law, or is it a political power play? Should lawmakers who flee the state face removal from office, or is this a violation of their constitutional rights? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's discuss. Texas governor seeks court order to fire Democrats over voting map dispute. Democracy in Texas is facing its most heated showdown in years, one that could decide who holds power and whose voice gets heard for a generation. But here's where this story takes a dramatic turn. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has launched a bold legal bid to eject dozens of Democratic lawmakers from office after they stage a dramatic walkout, fleeing the state to prevent Republicans from pushing through a controversial new redistricting plan. Abbott isn't just targeting the group as a whole. He's going after a prominent Democratic figure, Gene Wu, labeling him the mastermind behind what Abbott calls an attempt to hijack the Texas government. In his lawsuit to the Texas Supreme Court, Abbott argues that Wu and his colleagues have abandoned their official responsibilities, which, in his view, warrants immediate removal from office. So, why the uproar over new voting maps? The planned redistricting would add 5 more congressional seats likely to lean Republican, further tipping the scales of the U.S. House of Representatives in favor of the GOP, a party already clinging to a narrow majority in Washington. Redistricting, also known as gerrymandering when manipulated for political gain, is by no means unique to Texas. Both Democrats and Republicans across the U.S. have used it to advantage their own parties. But this time, the stakes and the battle lines are especially clear. Typically, states redraw legislative maps every 10 years, aligning with new U.S. Census data to reflect shifting populations. Texas last updated its districts in 2021, right after the 2020 census. Ordinarily, those lines wouldn't change again until the next census. Yet Republicans see an opportunity now, and Democrats consider it a crisis. Texas House Democrats have failed in their duty to represent Texans, and consequences must follow, declared Abbott. The Texas House requires 2/3 of its 150 members present to conduct official business, a quorum that Republicans lost when more than 50 Democrats slipped out of the state over the weekend. This maneuver triggered Abbott's rarely invoked legal response. His lawsuit seeks a seldom-used court order known as a writ of quo warranto to formally strip Gene Wu of his position. Quo warranto cases zero in on whether an individual is legally eligible to hold a particular office, a process that has the power to upend careers and political fortunes. Adding fuel to the fire, the governor recently ordered that absent Democrats be arrested and escorted back to the State House so the vote could proceed. President Donald Trump even chimed in from a White House event, suggesting the FBI may have to assist in tracking down the wayward lawmakers, echoing calls from both state and national Republicans. Gene Wu, chair of the Texas House Democratic Caucus, has fiercely defended his actions, insisting that refusing to provide a quorum is not dereliction, but in fact, a fulfillment of my oath. Wu accuses Abbott of trying to silence my dissent by removing a duly elected official, arguing that participating in the redistricting is something he simply cannot do in good conscience. But here's the controversy that takes most people by surprise. The lawsuit is being heard by the Texas Supreme Court, where all 9 justices are Republicans, and the Chief Justice previously served as Abbott's top legal advisor. The state's Attorney General, Ken Paxton, is pursuing yet another track. He seeks to have each absent Democrat seat declared vacant, but he admits this means filing separate lawsuits in each lawmaker's home district, a grueling process, especially in Democratic-leaning areas. Democrats reject the notion that they've abandoned their duties. As Texas Democrat Ana Maria Rodriguez Ramos told BBC News from Chicago, "We have to use every tool at our disposal to protect our democracy." Meanwhile, national politics looms large. Donald Trump, never one to sit on the sidelines, has egged on Texas Republicans, pointing out his historic performance in the state and declaring that they are entitled to 5 more seats. But here's an interesting twist, and a source of fresh controversy. Democrats outside Texas are now threatening similar tit-for-tat efforts. In California, Democrats are considering ways to redraw maps to eliminate 5 GOP seats, though any such move would likely need voter approval. Lawsuits have emerged in Wisconsin seeking new maps, and New York's Democratic governor is pushing for redistricting as well, though that would require a constitutional amendment. Republican governors in states like Florida and Missouri are also signaling enthusiasm for their own round of redistricting, all while Ohio GOP leaders are prepping a new map that could cost Democrats at least 2 House seats. What's your take on this epic political chess match? Should fleeing lawmakers be ousted or celebrated? Does gerrymandering ever serve the public good? Or is it simply a tool for those already in power? Whose democracy is this anyway? Dive into the debate and share your views below, because the future of representative government may hang in the balance.